Question 20.1 deals with nomenclature of aldehydes and ketones, and these kind of questions will be covered on the next quiz for chapter 20. So let's take a look at the first problem here. In the first problem, we can obviously see that this is a ketone, so that's not too hard to recognize. We're dealing with a ketone, and you can see that the longest carbon chain has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons in it. And we know that the ketone group is on the second carbon, so if we have a 6-carbon chain, that's going to be a hexane chain, but since we have a carbonyl here and we have a ketone, we're going to call this hexanone. And the way I like to do it is I like to put the locant before the suffix. So I like to do hexan-2-one. And if you put 2-hexanone, I would mark that correctly as well. So that's the first thing that we have. What other kind of substituents do we have on here? We can see that we have 3 methyl groups. We have one on carbon 3, we have one on carbon 4, and we have one on carbon 5. But the ones on carbon 3 and 4 both have stereochemistry that we have to take into consideration as well. So if we look at the carbon 3, we can see that the stereochemistry on carbon 3 is, the stereochemistry here is R. So this is stereochemistry R. On carbon 4, the stereochemistry is S. So we're going to put that at the beginning of the name of our compound. So we're going to put 3R, 4, S. So that's where we put our stereochemistry. It always comes at the beginning of the name of our molecule. And then we have 1, 2, 3 methyl groups. They are carbons 3, 4, and 5. So then we're going to have 3, 4, 5 trimethyl, because there's 3 of them, trimethyl, and there shouldn't be a space here, but since I'm running out of space, I'm going to put 3, 4, 5 trimethyl. Why don't I write it like this? Hexane. Okay, there is enough room. 2-one. Hexane 2-one. And if you wrote trimethyl 2-hexanone, I would mark that correct as well. So this is the full name of our molecule. 3R4S, 3,4,5 trimethyl hexane 2-one. So that's the way I like to name that molecule. So let's take a look at B, and you can obviously see that this time we're dealing with an aldehyde. So this time we're dealing with an aldehyde, not a ketone. So remember what I talked about in the video where I covered nomenclature 20.2. I said that when we have an aldehyde, the aldehyde is always going to be carbon 1, and then we look for the longest chain off of that. So you can obviously see that it doesn't matter which way we go, they're going to be the same. So we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a 5-carbon chain would be pentane, but since we have an aldehyde, it's going to be pentanal. Instead of pentane, we end our suffix with al. Or al, I don't know why I keep saying al. Al. So carbon 2 has a substituent on it, which is this 3-carbon chain off of here. So that's going to be a propyl group. So it's going to be 2-propyl. So the full name of our compound should be 2-propyl pentanal. 2-propyl pentanal. That one was pretty easy. Now let's take a look at this last one here. And I didn't cover this in the video about section 20.2, but at the bottom of page, page 933, in Klein, they talk about how to name an aldehyde when you have an aldehyde group off of a cyclic compound. So you can see that this molecule has 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons in the cyclic part. So that's a cyclobutane. So that's going to be cyclobutyl. And the way that we finish this, the way we end the name when we have an aldehyde group off of a cyclic ring, a cyclic carbon ring, so it's going to be cyclobutyl carbaldehyde. Cyclobutyl carbaldehyde. And again, I didn't cover this on the video, but you can learn more about this at the bottom of page 933. So I hope that helps with these 3 problems. So these 3 molecules, we did the nomenclature pretty quick, and they're not too complicated if you know just a few rules and how to apply them.